Hey there, welcome to the Christian Media Marketing Show. My name is John. If you're watching this, I've just kind of realized that I don't look anything like the splash screen and the thumbnail for this show, but it is me. I'm the same guy, just a little bit more gray and a little bit shorter on the hair, I guess, there. But if you're listening to me, hopefully I sound the same to you, regardless of which episode and stuff that you've been listening to here. It's just a pleasure to spend some time with you today. I am looking forward to this content because it comes from my heart. This is something that I want to be sharing with you about because I think that it's important. And that is just this idea of growth itself. It's going to be a little personal. I want you to think about yourself today. And my hope is that you're going to look at this and apply this to your own life, whether it be spiritually, physically, emotionally, or even as a missionary or in your professional area, growth is really important. And one of the things as I was preparing for this week's episode was really just thinking through the excuses at times that I give, at least, as to why I don't pay attention to certain areas. And many times it's this mindset of, well, once I something, then I will do that. Once I have enough time, once I have enough money, once I have enough whatever, then I will do that. But here's the thing, before we even get into these today, you never will have enough. In fact, if you want to have more, you actually, I think, need to be growing in these areas that I'm going to be sharing about. If you need more time, well, then here's some ways that you can do that. And as you grow, it will actually provide more time. Maybe you need more energy to go and work out. Well, here's the crazy thing about it. When you go and you exercise, you will have more energy. It feeds, it grows, it builds on itself. So we're going to dive into this. Each of these sections will have some areas and ways of growth that comes into it. And then I want to give you a plug for one area in professional growth. In fact, I'll even start here off by telling you the friends of mine have some great training that's coming up. All right. And so I'm going to tell you more about that. If you are using digital engagement and you want to see how it can apply not just to evangelism and discipleship, then this is going to be a really, really good training for you. And I'll tell you more about that here at the end of this podcast and video show. So let's dive into the training and look at some areas where you and I can hopefully keep growing. So, when it comes to growing, I want to start with the idea of spiritual growth itself, because I think that what is happening in our spirit, our relationship with the Lord, will impact then all of these other areas that I want to share with you. And so, in each of these today, I want to give you some reasons why I think that they are important. When it comes to your spiritual growth, deepening your relationship with God has such a benefit. When we learn that the Lord is there and He is active and He wants to know you and He wants to walk with you, then that helps you in these hard times. It helps you understand His will, it helps you understand His purpose. And the more that you deepen your relationship, the more you'll see Him. In our team call this morning, as we were talking through and as we prayed as well, we began to share just stories. And I shared one of a couple in a small group that I'm a part of and how God has healed her. And then Yari in our group shared one from her own life with her mom. And it's just an encouragement as you see how the Lord is at work. And so deepening your relationship with God will help you in all of these other areas. And one of the other benefits to that then is that it just helps strengthen your faith because it is true, as Jesus said, in this world, you will have troubles. That is just a fact. And I've seen this over and over. The more that we are actively engaged in digital engagement, the more ads that we are running, the more people are responding, the more there are deeper spiritual conversations, the more that even maybe pre-fill before a new church planting team goes into a place, whatever it might be, the more that we go into the enemy's territory, the harder he hits back. And so your faith needs to be strong. And so as you grow spiritually, as you are reading in scripture, as you are journaling, as you are fasting, as you are giving of your finances and times, as you are giving and sacrificing, being that living sacrifice, it will strengthen your faith. And another benefit to that then is just the whole idea of living out your calling. As you grow, you will begin to understand more and more how God is calling you and using you. And this is such a specific area. I hope that you know that you are called. I hope you know when the Lord is saying, do this or don't do that. I hope when maybe you'll know when the Lord says, this chapter is done. That's a big prayer of mine, is to know when to hand over on something, when to stop, not just when to start, but living out your calling. Well, this is where spiritual growth can help you. And finally, I think it just helps you be a light to those that are around you. The more that you're in the Word, the more that you're with the Lord, the more that you're walking with the Spirit, then the more you will be sensitive to the Spirit and be able to be that light to other people. So when we're strong with the Lord, then it will impact and help us grow in some of these other areas. And one of those is just with our emotions and our emotional growth. And so when we are working on this, when we are beginning to spend times and really leaning into our emotional well-being, this might be something that you've never even spent much time thinking about. Maybe you think, well, that's where people have problems or whatever. No, growing in your emotional intelligence, how you see things, asking yourself questions. Why do I feel this way? Or why do I do this? Why did I not do this? And it's just so important when we're doing that, and it helps us to be more intelligent about what's happening in our lives and in our emotions itself. It will also help build just resilience and endurance. We'll be able to not have too high and too low. We'll continue to grow and understand how God has made you and me. The more we understand that, and the more we try to work on our emotional life, the more we can be resilient to those challenges that come up. And a result of that will be a benefit is enhanced relationships. I hope that if you're married, your spouse is your accountability partner. I hope that you can share anything and everything with them. But even moving beyond your spouse to your children, to your other workers and teammates that you might be a part of, to colleagues, whatever it might be. When you lean into growing emotionally, it can enhance your relationships and it can bring about what I think is a peace, a biblical peace, right? It's not, peace is not the absence of war. It's not the absence of struggles and challenges. Peace is something that comes from the Lord. And this inner biblical peace, a peace that he promises, can come when we're leaning into our relationship spiritually and we're learning to lean in and try to grow in our emotional parts of our lives as well. All of this is impacted then even by our physical part. And so this is one of the ones where sometimes I think we kind of let things fall to the side. Well, this isn't important. It's important for me to be doing this work. Well, physical is important because this is not a sprint. This is a marathon. This is something that takes time and time and time to build up emotional endurance, physical endurance as well. So it's important for your physical growth because it helps maintain your health. It helps maintain that vitality to help you keep going, to wake up each day and to be able to tackle whatever it is that the Lord gives you to do in service to Him. It's all really, really important. And what it ends up doing is it increases your energy and it increases your productivity. You might think, well, I don't have time to work out. No, the truth is you won't have time unless you are working out, growing in your emotions, spending time with the Lord, growing as a professional in your workplace. All of these things are really important for you to be leaning into. So you will have better energy and you will have productivity. I've seen it so many times in my life when I don't lean into making sure that I am getting a good 30 minutes to an hour of working out every day, everything then will suffer. My emotions suffer, even my time with the Lord. All of these things are tied together. And I think that's because we are God's creation. So we should take care of what we eat, of what we do, our physical parts of our lives. That's a part of our worship. That's a part of our Romans 12, all of these things. In light of all of these things, renewing of our minds, our spiritual act of worship is giving of our lives back to Him spiritually, emotionally, physically, and professionally. Right? It's also just sets a really good example for others. It's hard when we just sit and all we do is sit and maybe gain weight and all these things to have a good testimony to other people of that our bodies are important, that our lives are important when our witness doesn't match our words. So it sets just a good example for other people. Finally, professional growth. And for you, if you're a missionary, is growing in those missionary skills. Well, effective communication of the gospel is something that you need to continue to work on, whether that be language learning or even how you say certain things. What are you going to say? How are you going to say it? If it's digital engagement, how can you continue to grow as you're doing this? And as you grow, it's partly because the world, at least with digital engagement, so using digital tools and technologies and strategies from pre-filled to leaving the field. All right. This is why we don't use just certain phrases and certain methodologies, because for us, digital engagement is the whole missionary task. All of these things, we try to lean into it. Well, all of those things are changing all of the time. The rules are changing. The technology is changing. All of these things impact the work that you and I do. And so leaning into it, taking courses, taking classes, reading books, really trying to grow, leaning into these little incremental changes can make a massive impact. Always be growing. Sir Richard Branson has this phrase, the ABCD, always be connecting dots, looking for all of these things that you study and you look through. And if I were to share with you my Obsidian notebook, which is what I call my second brain, where I put all my articles, all my notes, my journaling, meeting notes, everything into it, and then they're all tagged together, I can begin to see over time how the Lord is directing, things that I'm leaning into, new things that I'm learning, but I can see how these dots connect together. So in a changing environment, your growth is important. It also helps you just build stronger connections. As you're learning new things, as you're connecting these dots, they get stronger. And sometimes you will find that there are new things that you see, and you can see with fresh eyes how they connect to a different challenge that you're facing. So something new sometimes to you might help you with an old problem. So it just builds stronger connections in your mind. And it will also empower those who you are leading. The more that you grow, the more that you can raise that water level of knowledge and application, the more that it raises it for everybody. And so, for those who you are potentially leading, your growth in your skills will help them as well, because that's what we're about. At the end of it all, we're about those who live in these locations, those local believers, those local leaders. How can we equip them to continue the work, to take care of the gospel and share it to as many people as possible? All right. So, all of these things are areas where we can grow. Take courses, read books, spend the time, spend the money to grow spiritually, emotionally, physically, and professionally. So, all of these areas are areas that I hope that you are growing in. And I want to recommend a course in one of the ways where you can grow professionally as a digital engagement specialist, as a missionary using tools that are out there. And it is through a course that's being offered from some friends of mine. In fact, one of the ones that are leading the course is one of the members of our Kavanaugh Media team. And this is a MMU, which is Missions Media U, doing a course on foundations of digital engagement and strategies. So this course is starting here in September. It's September 26th through October 24th. And there is an early registration process that's going on right now. Put the link right here on the screen. That ends on September 12th. And so I think it's really, really a great course. They're going to cover a lot in this course. If you have ever wondered what is digital engagement or you want to grow in your digital engagement, I really believe that this would be a very valuable class for you to be a part of. All right. And so go there. The link is here on the screen, missionmediau.org. You'll see the course. I hope that you sign up. If you learn something from it, come back and share it with me. I'd love to hear what things that you are learning, ways that you are applying things. All right. Next week, Lord willing, I'm going to do the first of what each month I'm going to dedicate one episode to some technology, tools, open source software, things that I am using or testing daily. And I'm going to be sharing some of these things with you. Next week is the very first one. And I'm actually going to be looking at passwords and password management and why it's important, some different options that are out there, and a couple of ones that we have tested and recommend. So I hope that you'll be tuning in for that. As always, if there are specific things, questions, subjects, things that you would like for us to be talking about on the show, things that you can be sharing with us so that we can learn, share them with other people, I would love to hear from you about that. And our prayer is for you to keep pressing forward. All right. Keep growing, whether it be spiritually, emotionally, physically, or professionally. We want to offer all of who we are to the Lord, and we want to do that with you. Thank you for putting your hand to the plow in making Jesus famous. Until next time, take care and keep pressing forward. Bye for now.